Hello, we're our Lives channel. Today we will learn about the explosive drama that's about to unfold in Salem on Monday, October 6th, as relationships are tested, secrets are exposed, and dangerous conspiracies take center stage. Jennifer seeks guidance from Kayla. The week kicks off with Jennifer Horton Devereaux finding herself in desperate need of counsel and emotional support. Having recently returned to Salem, Jennifer's primary concern revolves around the increasingly complicated relationship between Chad DiMera and Kat Green, a woman whose past deceptions continue to haunt everyone involved. Fortunately, Kayla Johnson proves to be the perfect confidant, offering her longtime friend the wisdom and perspective she needs during this turbulent time. Jennifer's frustration with Kat remains at an all-time high, and understandably so given the circumstances. The thought of Kat getting romantically involved with Chad fills Jennifer with anxiety and protective instincts for the DiMera family. However, Kayla's advice may center on the importance of stepping back and recognizing what lies beyond one's control. Sometimes the hardest lesson to learn is that not every situation can be fixed through interference, and Kayla understands this reality better than most after decades of navigating Salem's complicated family dynamics. The conversation between these two veteran Salem residents will likely touch on deeper issues about trust, healing, and the complexities of moving forward after devastating loss. Jennifer must grapple with the reality that Chad is an adult capable of making his own choices, even if those choices seem questionable from an outside perspective. Kayla's measured approach and calming presence will provide Jennifer with much-needed clarity, though whether she'll actually heed this advice remains to be seen. Thomas confronts Chad about his lies. Meanwhile, young Thomas DiMera reaches his breaking point and decides to force his father into an uncomfortable confrontation. The catalyst for this showdown stems from Rachel Black's earlier revelation that Chad has been less than truthful about the nature of his relationship with Kat. Thomas had previously been told that Chad and Kat were merely friends, but Rachel's meddling has exposed this convenient fiction for exactly what it is: a lie designed to protect Thomas from a painful truth. Chad finds himself backed into a corner with no choice but to admit that Rachel was absolutely right when she declared that he and Kat are more than just friends. This confession represents a betrayal of trust in Thomas's eyes, particularly because his father looked him directly in the eye and deliberately misled him. The young DiMera heir is understandably upset that Chad chose deception over honesty, and he won't let his father off the hook easily during their tense exchange. Chad will make every effort to smooth things over and repair the damage done to their father-son relationship. He'll likely explain that his intentions were noble, that he was simply trying to protect Thomas from unnecessary complications while he figured out his own feelings. Unfortunately for Chad, the situation is about to deteriorate dramatically as Rachel's gossip train doesn't stop at merely exposing the romantic relationship. The bombshell revelation that truly sends Thomas into a fury is learning that Kat actually impersonated his deceased mother, Abigail DiMera. This shocking piece of information transforms Thomas's disappointment into full-blown rage and betrayal. The idea that someone would dare to pretend to be his beloved mother, who he still mourns deeply, crosses every conceivable line. Thomas will demand answers from Chad about how he could possibly consider dating someone who committed such a heinous act of deception. Chad will face some incredibly difficult questions from his son, and providing satisfactory answers may prove impossible under these circumstances. Kat and Rafe form a dangerous alliance. Elsewhere in Salem, Kat Green and Rafe Hernandez come together for a clandestine meeting that could have far-reaching consequences. This secretive rendezvous focuses on sharing critical information and piecing together a puzzle that points toward something sinister brewing beneath Salem's surface. Rafe brings Kat up to speed on everything he discovered during his revealing meal with Gwen von Leuskner, and the intelligence gathered during that conversation proves deeply troubling. The central concern revolves around the mysterious new hospital facility that has become a topic of increasing speculation. As Rafe and Kat compare notes and analyze the available evidence, a disturbing pattern emerges that suggests E.J. DiMera has nefarious intentions for this medical establishment. The more they dig into the details, the more convinced they become that E.J.'s involvement in the hospital project extends far beyond legitimate business interests. Both Kat and Rafe recognize that someone needs to take action before EJ's dark plans come to fruition. Their shared commitment to justice and protecting Salem's residents creates a natural partnership, despite the unconventional circumstances. Together, they begin crafting a new conspiracy designed specifically to take down EJ and expose whatever corruption he's attempting to conceal. This alliance between Kat and Rafe represents a potentially powerful force against EJ's scheming, though it also places both of them in considerable danger should their investigation be discovered. The stakes couldn't be higher as they navigate this treacherous territory. EJ DiMera is not someone who takes kindly to interference in his affairs, and he possesses both the resources and ruthlessness to eliminate threats to his operations. Nevertheless, Kat and Rafe are determined to see their mission through, regardless of the personal risks involved. Viewers can expect the storyline to escalate dramatically in the coming days as more evidence surfaces and the conspiracy web grows increasingly complex. Jeremy Horton returns and shocks Stephanie. In another corner of Salem, Stephanie Johnson experiences a major shock when her ex-boyfriend Jeremy Horton suddenly reappears in her life. Jeremy's arrival comes without warning, and he shows up bearing flowers and wearing a hopeful smile that suggests he wants something from his former flame. His sudden presence immediately triggers Stephanie's anxiety and sets off every alarm bell in her head. Jeremy makes it clear that he's returned to Salem seeking redemption and a second chance. He wants an opportunity to apologize for the mistakes he made during their previous relationship and to ask for Stephanie's forgiveness. On the surface, this gesture might seem romantic and sincere, but Stephanie knows better than to take Jeremy's words at face value. Her past experiences with him have taught her to be extremely cautious and skeptical of his motivations. The history between Stephanie and Jeremy is complicated and painful, marked by deception, control, and emotional manipulation. During their time together years ago, Jeremy proved himself to be emotionally abusive towards Stephanie, creating a toxic dynamic that left lasting scars. His pattern of lying and controlling behavior demonstrated that he was far from the charming pilot he initially appeared to be. Adding to the troubling nature of their shared history is Jeremy's criminal background, which he was never fully honest about during their relationship. He had been convicted of fraud after setting up a bogus charity supposedly benefiting cancer-afflicted children, only to use the proceeds to purchase a condominium and sports car for himself. Jeremy also had a history of car theft and shoplifting from his younger days. Perhaps most disturbing was an incident where Jeremy became so angry with Stephanie that he held her head underwater in a hot tub, nearly drowning her in a terrifying display of his violent temper. Given all of these red flags from their past, Stephanie will definitely struggle with massive trust issues as Jeremy attempts to worm his way back into her life. She knows that people rarely change as dramatically as Jeremy would need to in order to become a safe and healthy partner. The question becomes whether Jeremy has genuinely transformed during his years away from Salem, or if he's simply become better at hiding his darker impulses beneath a veneer of reformed sincerity. Stephanie will need to proceed with extreme caution as she navigates this unexpected reunion and decides how to respond to Jeremy's pleas for forgiveness. The drama continues to intensify throughout Salem as Monday's episode sets the stage for even more explosive confrontations and revelations in the days ahead. Part 2, Friday, October 3rd, 2025. Stephanie faces her past, Julie welcomes home family, and EJ and Paulina go head-to-head. The drama in Salem never sleeps, and Friday's episode of Days of Our Lives was no exception. It was a day filled with secrets, family reunions, and explosive arguments that left viewers clutching the arms of their chairs. At the center of it all were Stephanie, Alex, EJ, Paulina, and Julie, each caught up in their own emotional battles. Stephanie's shameful secret comes to light. The episode opened with Stephanie still reeling from the devastating discovery that she is, in fact, Anastasia. This revelation has shaken her to her core, and she feels as though the walls of her life are closing in around her. In a world like Salem, secrets never stay buried for long, and Stephanie knows that her past could destroy everything she has worked so hard to build. Alex, ever the smooth talker with a sharp business mind, immediately saw an opportunity in Stephanie's pain. His advice was direct, almost brash. Stop hiding and go public with the truth before EJ uses it as a weapon. In his mind, if she owns her story, it will take the power away from EJ and anyone else who might try to hurt her with it. Alex, ever confident, even framed it in terms of branding, as though her identity crisis could be spun into good publicity. But Stephanie is not thinking about press releases or personal branding. Her thoughts are consumed with something much darker, something that has haunted her for years. Jeremy Horton. The shadow of Jeremy Horton. Jeremy, for those who remember, is not a name spoken fondly in Salem. Once involved in shady smuggling operations, Jeremy left behind a trail of broken trust and shattered relationships. Stephanie once loved him, so much so that she married him. But what followed was a marriage marred by manipulation, disrespect, and emotional scars that have never fully healed. Now Jeremy is on his way back to Salem. Stephanie's fear is palpable. The memories of their life together come rushing back, uninvited and painful, and she finds herself torn between shame and dread. As she confides in Alex, her voice cracks. She tells him about the smuggling, about the way Jeremy treated her, about how she stayed longer than she should have, long enough to lose faith in herself. For Stephanie, it is not just Jeremy's return that terrifies her. It is the humiliation of facing everyone she knows in Salem while carrying the weight of her choices. Alex's fierce loyalty. Alex listens closely, and for once, his normally playful demeanor vanishes. His jaw tightens, his eyes flash with anger, and he makes no attempt to hide his disgust for Jeremy. In his mind, the solution is simple. Find Jeremy and teach him a lesson he will never forget. The idea of confronting Jeremy physically is not just a fantasy for Alex. It's a promise he feels ready to keep. Stephanie, however, is caught between emotions. She is grateful for Alex's protectiveness, but she is also ashamed. Ashamed of the marriage, ashamed of what she endured, and ashamed that she allowed it to continue as long as it did. Sitting across from Alex at the kitchen table, a bowl of lemons between them, she feels the sour taste of regret rising in her throat. Alex tells her gently but firmly that she has nothing to be ashamed of. What happened was not her fault. The blame lies entirely with Jeremy and his cruelty. But Stephanie, like so many who have been hurt deeply, struggles to believe in her own innocence. She thanks Alex for his words, but her eyes reveal the truth. She doesn't truly believe them. Julie's joyful reunion. While Stephanie wrestled with her demons, elsewhere in Salem, the tone was far lighter. Julie Williams, one of Salem's most beloved matriarchs, was all smiles as she welcomed her cousin home. Julie has been through decades of ups and downs, but family has always remained at the center of her life. This homecoming was more than just a reunion. It was a reminder that, no matter the turmoil swirling through Salem, family ties endure. Julie's warmth, her open arms, and her steady presence provided a much-needed balance to the chaos in other corners of the city. EJ and Paulina clash over Salem's power crisis. But Salem is never calm for long. Across town, two strong personalities collided in a heated argument. EJ DiMera and Paulina Price. The city has been struggling with rolling blackouts, and frustration is reaching its peak. EJ, never one to shy away from confrontation, accused Paulina of failing in her responsibilities. As mayor, she should have ensured the city was prepared, he argued. His words were sharp, his tone condescending, and he clearly relished the chance to undermine Paulina's authority. Paulina, however, is not a woman who backs down. She fired back at EJ with equal passion, reminding him that the outages were not a simple problem to fix. Salem's infrastructure is crumbling, and years of mismanagement cannot be undone overnight. She stood her ground, refusing to let EJ bully her into submission. The exchange was fiery, with each refusing to concede an inch. The tension between them crackled almost as fiercely as the electrical grid itself, leaving viewers to wonder, who will come out on top in this battle of wills? Stephanie's silent struggle. Even as other stories unfolded across Salem, the heart of Friday's episode was Stephanie's journey. Watching her struggle with the shame of her past, the fear of Jeremy's return, and the fragile hope offered by Alex was deeply moving. Stephanie may put on a brave face, but her eyes betray her pain. She promises Alex that she's fine, but the truth is written in every line of her body. She is not fine. The image of the lemons between them lingers as a powerful metaphor. Life has handed Stephanie a basket of sour memories, bitter choices, and painful consequences. Whether she can make something sweet out of them, whether she can truly believe in herself again, remains to be seen. Final thoughts. Friday's episode of Days of Our Lives delivered a mix of heartbreak, anger, and hope. Stephanie's story provided a raw, emotional core that resonated deeply, especially for those who have faced regrets of their own. Julie's reunion offered warmth and family comfort, while EJ and Paulina's argument reminded us that power, both political and personal, always comes with a price. As Salem moves forward, one question looms large. Can Stephanie find the strength to face her past without letting it define her future? For longtime fans of Days, the answer may come slowly, but one thing is certain: the journey will be unforgettable.